This semester I'm taking 4 classes, and one of the class name is Certified Secure Software Lifecycle Professional, and I have to take pre-assessment before I will read any chapter. So this is the first question. What is the primary difference between load testing and stress testing in software testing? And this will be answer C. I checked that earlier. Load testing involves running the system under a controlled speed environment, while stress testing assesses performance under extreme conditions. Question number 2. George works as a machine learning engineer in the XYZ organization. He is working on the project of having a naive Bayes algorithm implemented. I don't know that algorithm. What structure of data does he need in the project? What structure of data needs a naive Bayes algorithm? Let's see. Structured data must be represented as features, columns. Each feature is independent of the others. The naive assumption, a categorical. Yes, no, true, false, class A, B, C, binary, 0, 1, numerical. It's similar to Boolean structured. Question number 3. Managed cloud services exist because the service is less expensive for each customer than creating the same service for themselves in a traditional environment. What is the technology that creates most of the cost savings in the cloud environment? Virtualization, secure remote access, crypto shredding, emulation, um, I will go with virtualization. Jim is a student in a school. He is studying the OSSTMM standard for his exam regarding um, regarding the standards for software quality assurance. He is confused about the sections of OSSTMM. Which of the following options is not a section of the standard that he should consider? Open source security testing methodology manual. Okay, this is the first time I hear about this. Um, which section is not a section of the standard? Network, yes. Telecommunication, physical security, yes. Wireless, yes. Telecommunication. Question number 5. Oh, telecommunication is included. Wait. So, no, no switching network or no wireless. Huh, no way. So, one of the answer must be correct. So, which one? Switching network. According to open source TMM, Open source stands for what? What was that? Open source security testing methodology manual. Um, so defines 5 security channels: data networks, human security, telecommunications, physical security, wireless. Switching network is not a section. Data networks, not switching network. It's pretty tricky, like for a pre-assessment. Okay. In most enterprises, when does the management review of risk associated with new software typically occur in the software development process? When does the management review of risk associated with new software? Only when the software encounters a major issue. No. At the beginning of the project and before key project milestones. Um, in the software development process. Only at the end of the project, only at the beginning and before. I will go with B. I will risk, not going to check. What is the primary purpose of supplier risk assessment? Um, to reduce production costs by any means necessary, to eliminate all potential risks associated with suppliers, to identify and maintain an appropriate set of risk controls in the supply chain, to establish exclusive contracts with suppliers, to eliminate all potential risks associated. The main reason for supplier risk assessment. Identify and manage risks introduced by third party, to reduce production costs, to eliminate, to identify and maintain, right? To identify and manage risks introduced before. Okay, let's go with C. Because you cannot eliminate, but you can identify, you can understand what are the potential risks introduced by a third party, right? What are the two primary parts of vulnerability management in the context of software supply chain security? Two primary parts: vulnerability management, vendor section and procurement, hardware maintenance and software updates, code development and deployment, vulnerability identification and patching. Hardware and software vulnerability. I would go with B, but I would like to know the answer and validate my answer with chat. D, vulnerability identification and patching. So any vulnerability. Okay, makes sense. So hardware is not like the primary issue. Vulnerability is. Why the others are wrong? Asset ops management, too broad. Okay. In third party components, library dependencies of software supply chain security. Next question. Question number 8. Which of the following is the main focus of software development life cycle? Which of the following is the main focus to ensure that systems are secure by design, to describe how the software is expected to function, to permit concise communication about allowed system interactions, to illustrate specifically prohibited action. Oh, this is all new. I would pick A, to ensure that systems are secure by design. I would say to ensure that they meet the requirements and is validated in testing and design as expected, but there is no such an answer. To describe how the software is expected to function. Okay, so in other words, if it meets requirements, so that's what I said, right? Defining requirements, yes. Designing, building, testing, maintaining software, yes. Ensuring the system does what it's supposed to do, right? It's all about requirements. So I didn't think that is B because to describe how the software is expected to function. Yeah, it's about functionality, the software, but it's expected, so it's about requirements. Yep, you can connect like the dots like that, right? Okay, question number 9. Which of the following tasks are enabled by an attack surface analyzer that can be performed by a development team or an end user to specifically look for and alert on issues that have been shown to cause security weaknesses? Each correct answer represents a complete solution. Apply all that are correct. Which of the following tasks are enabled by attack surface analyzer? Provide incident response team with detailed information associated with a Windows platform. View changes in the Windows attack surface resulting from the installation of the application. Assess the aggregate attack surface change associated with the application in the enterprise environment. Eliminate the risk to the platform where the application is proposed to exit. Um, either ABC or A and C. B and C. View changes. Because this is just about Windows platform. It's not nothing about changes, right? YC is correct. Assess the aggregate attack surface change associated with the application in the enterprise environment. Attack surface analysis evaluate the overall impact of deploying an app, help teams understand risk at scale, support decisions like approve, restrict, or redesign deployment. B. an attack surface analyzer is specifically designed to compare before and after. Okay, I understand why A is not correct. Provide incident response with detailed information. That's incident response, not attack surface analysis. All right, learning. An organization wants to identify the top threats that have the greatest potential impact to the organization. Which of the following steps should be taken first to detect all of the possible threats in a single pass? System decomposition, identifying security objectives. I would go with the identifying security objectives, system decomposition. However, I am curious. Um, what is like system decomposition? Okay, that's the correct answer. Decomposition. To detect all possible threats in a single pass, you must first break the system down into components, data flows, trust boundaries. Ah, so that's what you do when you start threat modeling. Entry exit points, trust boundaries, data flows. Without the composition, you cannot see where threats exist, so you will miss them. This is the foundation step in threat modeling. System decomposition. Um, list all steps and explanation and examples. Thank you. I will take a note of that. I would like to know all the steps of threat modeling. This will be useful. Plain simple text. Okay, let's go to number 11. Your organization has asked you to develop a security model by keeping in mind that the confidentiality of data should be of utmost priority. Which of the following security models will you develop? Biba, take grant. Whoa, Lapadula, no idea. No idea. Not even, I can just guess. I will copy the steps of the threat modeling. This will be for later. And let's see the answer for question number 11. Bell Lapadula focuses on confidentiality rules like no read up, no write down, prevent data leaks. No read up. Okay, take grant focuses on access rights, transfer, not confidentiality. Okay. Biba focuses on integrity, not confidentiality, and Clark Wilson focuses on integrity and business processes. Okay, this is new. What are the four primary options for dealing with risks in risk management? I would go with B, detection, elimination, prevention, and avoidance for primary options for dealing risk with risk in hold on, with risk in risk management. Let's go. Let's see. Risk avoidance, really? Ooh, mitigation, transfer acceptance. Oh, because this is about the risk transfer, avoidance, acceptance, mitigation, risk reduction. Um, transfer acceptance. But we don't have those answers here. And I understand what chat is saying, but we don't have those answers. For example, remediation and mitigation are very close and there is no ignorance because you can ignore the risk. This is terminology trap, avoidance, mitigation, transfer, acceptance. But mitigation and remediation is the risk reduction, is the same bullshit. Okay. Each correct answer represents a complete solution. Choose all that apply. Each correct answer represents a complete solution. In the context of availability, where are the primary concerns? Maximizing system performance for all users when needed. Um, Granting access to unauthorized users during peak times. Denying access to authorized users when needed. Ensuring systems are available for authorized users when needed. Concerns. Maximizing system performance for all users when needed. This question is a little bit unclear to me. A, B only. Maximizing system performance, ensuring being up and usable, authorized users being able to access them when needed. Um, yes, availability includes capacity and performance, including system are available for authorized users when needed. C, security violation. Okay, okay. Refer to the following figure. Which of the following is an approach that explains A and B tasks in the scenario given in the figure? A and B tasks. Opening car by signal extension. B. I mean B here. A stealing car by force. Which of the following is in an approach that explains A and B tasks in the scenario? Oh God, I don't know. Misuse? I mean, use case is when there is a scenario where something is used, and misuse is the opposite, right? When it's not expected to the use case, I would say. Okay, misuse. Uh, Opening car by signal and stealing by force describe malicious actions by an attacker, thief. The diagram shows attack against a normal function. A prevention relationship. This is exactly what misuse cases model. How a system can be abused, attacked, misused. How controls prevent that misuse. Unit testing tests small pieces of code. Use case describes as normal intended user behavior. System testing validates the whole system against requirements. Which of the following systems are true about validation and verification process? Statements are true about validation. It answers the are we building the product right? Validation and verification. It means that the software means the specified user requirements. It answers the are we building the right product? It describes proper software construction. I would go with A and B. Due to new regulations, an organization has decided to initiate an organizational vulnerability management program and assign the function to the security teams. Which of the following frameworks would support the program? ITIL, COVID, list, OWASP. Due to new regulation, an organization has decided to initiate an organizational vulnerability management. IL is something with the libraries program and assign the function to security team. This is web security, web application security. I don't remember what is COVID, but 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 mm, COVID supports governance, control objectives, and management oversight. COVID stands for control objectives for information and related technologies. Chris is implementing cryptographic controls to protect his organization and wants to use defense in depth controls to protect sensitive information stored and transmitted by a web server. Which of the following controls would be least suitable to directly provide this protection? Data loss prevention, TLS, resisting enrollment to protect his in defense control system by a web server. What's FDE? FDE stands for, let's see. Oh, I think this one. This is the at least be least suitable controls protection. No, 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 no. This is um let's see. Actually, this can be useful. Okay, data loss prevention. Encrypt data in transit. Uh, at rest. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Does not encrypt data, it monitors and logs data movement based on rules. Okay. If the software is secure but is lacking in quality, the undocumented features may exit. Which of the following options can be the result of undocumented features? Improper or undenied behaviors or undesired behaviors. If the software is secure but is lacking in quality, then undocumented features may exist. Which of the following options can be a result of undocumented features? Undesired behaviors. Which of the following statement is not true about peer-to-peer architecture? In this model, both parties are at equivalent levels of processing. It is characterized by the member devices sharing the work. Is not true. It implies a separation of duties and power. It is found in the transfer of information, file sharing, small both parties. I would go with C, but I am like not so sure about it. Okay. Yeah, there is no separation of duties. Peer to peer, all nodes are equal, devices share responsibilities, there is no central authority. Okay, next question. Mark, an information security manager, has conducted a gap analysis which revealed 65% implementation of security controls for high risk vulnerabilities, 80% for medium risk vulnerabilities, and 5% for low risk vulnerabilities. To assure the assurance team reviewed the likelihood of exploitation of each vulnerability and the business impact of each associated control to determine which controls to implement. Which of the following is the most important to consider? And I checked that here on chat and it says business impact analysis. The goal is to decide which controls to implement first after a gap analysis. The assurance team already evaluated likelihood of exploitation, business impact of the associated controls. That combination maps directly the business to business impact analysis, which prioritizes controls based on how much damage a failure would cause to the business. All right. And key RI stands for and key risk indicator. Okay. A measurable value used to monitor risk levels over time. Early warning signs. NDA stands for non-disclosure agreement. A legal contract used to protect confidential information, not a risk control selection tool. Okay. John is the new director of software development within his company. Several proprietary applications offer individual services to the employees, but the employees have to log into each and every application independently to gain access to these discrete services. John would like to provide a way that allows each of the services provided by the various applications to be centrally accessed and controlled. Which of the following best describes the architecture that John should deploy? Service oriented architecture. I will go with service oriented architecture. You might write code that prevents users from entering certain data values that might present a security problem. Which of the following is associated with the given scenarios? Mitigation, fuzzing, backtracking, threat modeling. It's a mitigation technique. Alicia works as a software developer in an organization. She is facing an issue while developing software, so she decided to use patches. The issue is fixed, but the fix started causing some other issues. Ooh, which of the following can be the issues that started occurring in the given scenario? Each correct answer represents a complete solution. The fix may undo some other mitigation at the point of the fix. The fix may cause a fault in some other part of the software. Right. The fix may cause the creation of duplicate software. That is less likely. Oops. The fix may repair a special case, entering a letter instead of a number, but miss the general case of entering any non-numeric value. Let's go with it. John is a penetration tester. He is performing a test that relies on the execution of the code while performing it with input to test the software. This type of testing has a strong preference for automated testing tools due to the volume of tests that need to be conducted in most specialized automation code testing processes. Which type of testing is he performing? He's performing a test that relies on the execution of the code while performing it with input to the software. This type of testing is strong preference for automated testing. Automated is dynamic. What is fuzzing testing? Oh, fuzzing testing. Software security testing technique where a program is fed invalid, random, unexpected inputs. Okay. Static testing without executing the code. Analyzes source code. Okay. Bytecode. Design documents. Configuration files. Dynamic is automated. Dynamic. Testing is testing while the application is running. Runtime inputs and outputs, network traffic, memory, finds what it finds, authentication, authorization flows, runtime. Is it automatic? Yes, dynamic testing can be automated, but it doesn't have to be. Dynamic testing may be automated or manual. Automation is common, but not required. Breakdown. Automated dynamic testing, scanners, automated fuzzers, CI/CD, manual dynamic testing, manual penetration testing, exploratory security testing, manual abuse case testing. Okay. Which organization has published a development guide to assist developers in actually operationalizing the principles of security development guide? This is for web application security. I will go with this. This is the consortium something IEEE. Uh, IEEE stands for IETF. Uh, OWASP is open. Web application security. I don't know, protocol. Okay, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers develops technical standards, networking, computing, IETF, Internet Engineering Task Force develops internet standards, TCP, HTTP, DNS, RFC, World Wide Web Consortium, Open Worldwide Application. Okay, worldwide, not web. Okay, Application Security Project, App Security. Yes, App Security. So this is for developers, right? Harry works as a security administrator for a company. He wants to actively test whether an application's security controls are in place or not. Which of the following assessments will he perform to test this? Yeah. He will do penetration testing to see all the vulnerabilities if it passes the security controls. Which of the following are ideal times for checking for and ensuring mitigation against certain types of errors? Um, Checking code walkthroughs. Audit trail is checking trails. Load balancers are for the traffic to distribute traffic evenly among the servers. Digital signatures is when they change certificates or gain certificates from users, servers. I would go with code walkthroughs. Walkthroughs. Kevin works as a security analyst. Um, in an organization, he is concerned that an application on which his team is currently developing is vulnerable to unexpected user input that could lead to issues within memory. Because of these issues, the application is affected in a harmful manner, leading to potential exploitation. Which of the following describes the attack that is taking place in the given scenario? With the memory, buffer overflow is when there is not enough memory and it goes buffer overflow. Program writes more data. Yes, okay, than buffer can hold. Overwriting adjacent memory. Too much input, memory gets overwritten. No bounds checking on input. Fixed size buffers. Unsafe functions. Which of the following statements are true about scanning? It is used to measure the security impact of an application on a Windows environment. It is automated enumeration of specific characteristics of an application or network. Scanning. I will go with B. It is used in software development to characterize an application on a target platform. It provides development team with a wealth of information as to how a system will behave when deployed into production. No, it doesn't say how the system will behave. Characterize an application on a target platform. Yeah, it just gives the information. It doesn't check the behavior. It doesn't measure anything. The security impact, no. A management team of an organization working on the risks of the organization, they identified all the risks and planned to deal with them. Which of the following are the options can the management team take? Um, team of an organization working on the risks of an organization. They identified all the risks and planned to deal with them. This is the ignorance and this is the transfer. They identified the risks so they can mitigate it, reduce, accept. They cannot remove, eliminate, or fix because the risk is. Which of the following are the uses of CWE Sans Top 25 list? Um, it is used as tool for development teams to provide education and awareness about the kinds of vulnerabilities that plague the software industry. It is used for designing and implementing the interaction between software application in SOA. SOA stands for software operation. Oh no, service oriented architecture. An architecture style where applications are built from independent, reusable services that communicate over a network. Okay. Mm, C. It is used in software procurement as a specification of elements that need to be mitigated in the purchased software. D. It is used to establish a shared security policy and authenticated keys for services that require keys, such as IPsec. It is used as a tool for development team to provide education and awareness about the kinds of vulnerabilities that plague the software industry. Which of the following attacks does not fail into the category of cryptographic failures? Does not fall into use of a one-way hash without salt, missing encryption of sensitive data, hard-coded credentials, cross-site request forgery, maybe? Cross-site request forgery. Let's see. CSRF is a web attack that tricks a logged in user's browser into sending an authorized request to a trusted website. The website trusts the user is tricked. Oy. How CSRF works. User logs into a trusted site. Session cookie is stored in the browser. User visits a malicious page or clicks a crafted link. Browser automatically sends the cookie. The trusted site executes the action as the user. Anti-CSRF tokens, same site cookies. Let's go with the uh, which of the following activities is not performed at the acceptance level? Um, software design interface analysis. A. Test development generation software design evaluation design analysis design interface. Let's go with A. Max, an attacker, has found a hidden button on the web page of XYZ website. Using features of the browser, he unhides the button and then clicks it to perform a task that only the system administrator should be able to perform. Which of the following security elements is he violating in the given scenario? Authorization. He's not authorized to do it. Authentication. Authentication. He is not the admin. Integrity. Confidentiality. Authenticity. Authentication. Oh, okay. Following security elements violating. If a person clicks hidden button that's supposed to be clicked, used only by the admin, but it is clicked by, oh, but an attacker, is that violation of integrity, confidentiality, authorization. Um, okay. Oh, authorization. He was not authorized to do it. Broken access control. Authentication. Who are you? Authorization. What are you allowed to do? Confidentiality. Can you see it? Confidentiality. Integrity. Can you change it? Let's go to the next one. Programming is also called programmatic security. Imperative programming is a programming paradigm where you write step-by-step instructions that tell the computer how to perform a task. Wait, okay. Imperative. Taylor. A penetration tester requires multiple layers of security controls to be placed throughout an IT infrastructure, which improves the security posture of an organization to defend against malicious attacks and potential vulnerabilities. Penetration testing requires multiple layers. Defense in depth consists of multiple security layers. Like an onion, an organization is conducting the V&V process. V&V process is the activities involved in the process examine schedules, requirements, and methods for the purpose of assessing their suitability to the project. Which of the following is a generic form that the organization is using? V&V verification and validation. Are we building the system right? Are we building the right system? Verify. Are we building the system right? Are we building the right? The activism of the process examines schedules, requirements of methods. Management, right? Which of the following is a generic form? Let's go with the management. When do common defense mechanisms such as authentication and authorization become effective in safeguarding a system? When they are invoked as part of a comprehensive protection scheme. Um, when they rely solely on user education, when they are applied intermittently during system maintenance when they are implemented as standalone measures. When do common defense mechanisms such as an authentication and authorization becomes effective? When they are invoked as a part of comprehensive protection scheme. What does a complete CDLC solution ensure? System are secure by default, system are secure by in development, deployment by design. Which of the following systems are true about use case? It is substitute for documenting the specific requirements. It is constructed of actors representing users and intended system behaviors. Following statements true about use case. Yes, it determines functional requirements in developer friendly. Yes, it correlates the requirement of a system. No, and when they are met. Which of the following is the extent of which a programming language prevents errors resulting from different data types in a program? Let's go with the type safety. Which of the following options defines how software components are connected to and interacted with each other? Software components, programming, application programming interface. Let's go to the next one. What is one of the security team's responsibility concerning security requirements for projects, managing financial budgets, keeping the list security requirements up to date for projects? For projects, security requirements. Let's go with B. You work as a security analyst in an organization. You want to understand the scientific methodology for assessing operational security built upon analytical metrics for your project. Which of the following options will you consider? We were reading about this earlier. That was open source. I forgot. What does it stand for? Open source security testing methodology manual, a formal framework for security testing and measurements focused on operational and technical security. ISECOM. Okay, next. An organization has recently suffered a series of security breaches that have damaged its reputation. Several successful attacks have resulted in compromised customer database files accessible via one of the company's web servers. Additionally, an employee had access to secret data from previous job assignments. This employee made copies of the data and sold it to competitors. Ooh, the organization has hired a security consultant to help reduce the risk of future attacks. What would be consultant used to identify potential attackers in the given scenario? He's going to do threat modeling, right? What can happen in the use case or different use cases? Mary works as a security analyst in an organization. She notices a vulnerability in one of the systems. She found out that some hackers are intentionally trying to exploit the network vulnerability to run arbitrary code on a targeted machine or system. Which of the following describes the vulnerability? B stands for, and SOA is a something architecture, RCE. Okay, let's check ADP. So, remote code execution, arbitrary code vulnerability on targeted machine, identity provider, enterprise service bus. Let's go with uh, remote code execution. Which of the following statements are true about concurrency? Each correct answer represents a complete solution. Apply all that are correct. It is true about concurrency. It is the extent of which a programming language prevents errors resulting from different data types in a program. It is the placement of sensitive data which data has no external connection. It is the process of two or more threads in a program executing concurrently. It is an issue when the threads access a common object, creating a shared object property. Everything what is like shared, concurrent, the same time. I would go with C and D. Which of the following is considered a powerful anti-tampering methodology in a software security? Code signing. What is the implication of the ability to make decisions about necessary mitigation in a security context? The need for an explicit management control framework to guide decision making, the need for immediate implementation for security measures, the need for outsourcing security decisions to third party experts, the need for continuous monitoring of all security incidents. The need for an explicit management control to guide decision making. This is kind of um oh, I cannot paste anything. Okay. Let's see. Code signing is using a digital signature to provide that software is authentic. Right. It has not been altered. Nice. Developer signs code with a private key. Okay. User system verifies it with a public. Okay. If changed, signature breaks. Warning. Is the is the concept of preventing a subject from denying a previous action with an object. Non-repudiation. Which of the following are primary mitigations? Assume that external a component can be subverted and coded is unreadable. Subverted. Subverted. Subverted is what happened with my internet? Podważone. Obalić, overthrow, overturn, refute, abolish, subvert. Can be subverted and code is unreadable. Use libraries and frameworks that make it easier to avoid. Right, introducing weaknesses to avoid introducing weaknesses. integrate security into the entire software development lifecycle, establish and maintain control over all of your outputs. A company wants to implement the security during CDLC process. To achieve this task, company wants to employ a method that detects weaknesses in an application before execution static. Boom. Suppose the system is connecting to a database to verify user credentials. An error occurred as in the database the credentials are not available when the request is made and the system needs to properly deal with the case. The system should not inadvertently grant access in the event of an error. The system may need to log the error along with information concerning what caused the error, but this information needs to be protected. Releasing the connection string to the database or passing the database credentials with the request would be a security failure. Risk management, exception management, session management, configuration management. This system should not inadvertently grant access. The system may need to log the error along with the information. What caused the error, but this information needs to be protected, releasing the connection string. Um, Exception management. Let's see. Verify and validate, right? Validate and verify, review. What is true about it? It is carried out of the purpose of supporting the customer and suppliers' technical and administrative personnel who have directly responsibility. No, it is carried out of the purpose of supporting the administrative personnel who have directly responsibility. Management. True about management. Uh, Management, administrative personnel. Yes, if it examines administrative plans, schedules, requirements. Yes. Management is about administrative personnel. It's not about customer. It's not about supplier. Okay. Exception management is the process of handling errors and unexpected errors, events, so a system can fail safely instead of crashing or exposing data. Uh, which of the following systems are true about supplier risk assessment? It is information gathering function that focuses on understanding the consequences of all feasible risks. Supplier risk assessment gathering function that focuses on understanding the consequences of all feasible. Yes, it allows customers to deploy the necessary proactive and reactive controls to respond to threats as they arise. In the supply chain. This is very crucial. It needs to be related to the supplier. C. It identifies what could go wrong in the development process. No, it is used to identify specific threats to the organization supply chain. Everything what is related to of all feasible risks. So I would go with B and D. Um, of all feasible risks, it is I would go with B and D. Okay. You are a project manager in the company and you are responsible for website security in your company and want address widely known and documented and want to address widely known and documented web application vulnerabilities. Which of the following is a resource that would be most helpful? You are responsible for website security. CSRF. CSRF. Lisa is an attacker, injects a database query into the input data directed at a server by accessing the client side of an application. Which of the following types of attack did she use? Attacker injects a database query um, by accessing the client side of an application. What's the difference between XSS versus SQL? In short, which of the following standards? Whew, let's guess. Software products. XSS, attacker user browsers by injecting malicious scripts. Aha, because this is about database. Yes, so that was SQL injection. SQL injection is about database by injecting malicious SQL commands, and XSS is about the website, malicious scripts, injecting malicious scripts, steal cookies, session, run code. Let's see. In James' company, uh, what is user change job position on a regular basis. James would like the company access control system to make it easy for administrators to adjust permissions when these changes occur. Would like the company access control system to make it easy for administrator to adjust permissions. Change job position, role based. Martha is the project manager for shipbuilding project. She, with her team, is creating a table that links needs to their origin and traces them throughout the project life cycle. Which of the following that defines the table that she can create? Uh, RTM stands for which lists are commonly considered to cover the majority of common software errors and vulnerabilities. Here, this one. Software. It's about software. Uh, requirements traceability matrix. A document that maps requirements to design development and testing. Which of the following data should be concealed to protect it from unauthorized disclosure using obfuscation technique? This is very tricky. Ryan, yeah, I will go with internal using obfuscation technique. Data should be concealed. Concealed data concealed internally. Ryan works as a software developer in an organization. He worked on a program and use programmatic response for occurrence and anomalous condition that occur during operation of a program. Which of the following is a response he is referring in the given scenario? Exception management. Data is hidden or protected inside the organization, so only authorized internal users can access it. You are a project manager and want to develop free articles, documents, and tools for your project. OWASP. What is common consequence of identifying risks late in a project that require patches? Decreased awareness, right? Increased cost or increased cost of potential schedule days. Okay. Mm, I have to be faster because I have only 17 minutes left. Mary works as an IT security analyst for an organization that research uh, and archives old music. Her collective exchanges music files in two forms: images of written sheet music and electronic copies of records. What intellectual property legal contract is protected by both copyright? Which of the following access control mechanisms are employed by the Bell LaPadula? Bell LaPadula. I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing. Bell LaPadula Insure. Attribute. Okay, let's go. Which of the following statement is true regarding bugs? They are assessed and scored based on impact. With this. Which of the following is a graphical representation of an attack beginning with the attack objective as the root node? Attack tree. Which of the following items are commonly considered PII? Personal identifiable information. The technician is running an intensive vulnerability scan to detect which ports are open. During the scan, several networks are disabled. Um, which of the following sources would the technician use? Evaluate which service. Syslog. Which of the following are the classes of web services that are identified by World Wide Web Consortium under the Web Services Architecture? Each correct answer represents a complete solution. UDDI. What is alternative name for SaaS CMM? Ah, let's go with D. James is working as a product manager at Nilco. Management has asked him to deploy some new infrastructure with the updates and changes without implementing them directly on the production server. The deployment should occur a procedural and repeatable fashion. Which of the following will he use to accomplish this task? To deploy some new infrastructure with updates and changes without implementing them directly on the production. Bootstrapping. How can automated tools integrated into IDE facilitate developers in performing static and dynamic checking by generating project document and code comments automatically by automatically identifying and reporting code automatically automated. Let's go with this. Code vulnerabilities and issues. What terms is used to describe a situation in which security measure fail, resulting in unauthorized exposure? Breach. What are the techniques commonly used in the incident monitoring process to identify potentially harmful events in a timely fashion? Automated incident management system, dynamic testing tools. Um, employee training, commonly used in the incident monitoring. How many processes are defined by CCE CMM outline objectives of security engineering? Let's go with 14. You are the business analyst for organization and you have been tasked with creating a prototype. You need to create a mock-up of the software system. Um, what type of prototype will you create? Organization human task. You need to create a mock-up. Horizontal, maybe. In the context of software security, what is the definition of third-party software? It's not written by in-house. Right, correct. A. Peter works as a software developer in an organization. He installed an application on the Windows OS and now he wants to detect the changes that occurs to underlying Windows. Attack surface analyzing unit testing. 10 minutes. What is unit testing? Let's go with white box testing. Which of the following options is devices used to demarcate the points where data moves from one module set to another? Devices used to demarcate the points. So slow. What is the primary purpose of the code repositories in the software development? To store source code for current or and past versions. Which of the following Statements are true about version control system. It handles all the questions asked by the management team. It tracks all the pieces of the project and enables complete management. It tracks all the pieces. It stores information on a user computer via web server. No, it manages access to source files logging section of code that only developer at one developer anytime check and modify version control. I am not sure. 8 minutes left. What is the goal of tracking bugs to ensure that some points the flaws get addressed? To measure what continues a minimum, to determine bottlenecks, to contain the info about defects. Get addressed. Which of the following is a form of software maintenance where changes are introduced virtually direct, directly into production? Let's go with this one. Stella works as a security administrator in an organization. She wants to test the system for weakness and vulnerabilities. Penetration testing. You work as a network administrator for a company. Your company asks you to analyze the traffic of a layer 7 of the OSC model presentation layer model between a web client and a web server. Which of the following will you use to accomplish? Oh God, 6 minutes. Which of the following is a frequent found during activities such as penetration testing and fast testing? Is a frequently found during activities. Defects, errors. What is the test harness in the software testing? Test harness. A tool used to generate random data that runs the test. Collection of tools and code used to run and control tests. Tool used for generating random data. Samson works as a security analyst. Characterize the security operation system in consistent, reliable fashion. So to create such a system, he needs a process. Which of the following can he use accomplish? I don't know. I'm guessing. I have only 5 minutes and 8 questions. Sophia, a security analyst, want to authenticate, create a shared secret session. I will go with A. Sam, a penetration tester, is asked to perform penetration test from an external IP address with no prior knowledge. Black box. What is the purpose of using a secure CI/CD pipeline to modern practices? Focus on code development and ignore deployment to eliminate. C. What is the primary purpose of version control? 4 minutes. What is the primary version control? I will go with A, to manage and track changes. What is the primary goal of continuous improvement in a business context? New, improving process, maintaining the status quo, and preventing any changes. Let's go with B. A testing, 3 minutes. A testing method is performed in which individual components of the software are tested. What type of testing does this describe? A testing method is performed in which individual components. Unit is individual components. Which of the following is an example of activities that can be considered theft of intellectual property, routine software, collaboration and knowledge, open source contribution, plagiarism of an idea? What is the primary purpose of contracts in the context of software development? To provide guidelines to promote, to serve as legal and binding agreements for specified, to serve as a legal contracts. I will go with C, to serve as a legal. And last one, which of the following is a key practice that needs to have structure and guidance from standards and frameworks? Which of the following is a key practice? To have structure and guidance from standards and frameworks. Key practice. Structure. Let's go with B. Okay, this is just a pre-assessment, so even if I fail, that's fine. 26 incorrect. Okay, let's see. Let's see the incorrect one. How to see it? Number 7. What are the two primary parts of vulnerability management in the context of software supply chain security? Oh, I didn't check this one. Vulnerability identification and patching. Okay. Which of the following is the main focus of CDLC? To ensure the system are secure by design. Wow, I checked this one and then I checked in the ChatGPT and it told me that this is to describe software is expected to function. Wow, okay. I should stay by my answer. Um, Wait, I want to see just the incorrect ones. Oh, okay, I see. This should be A. Which of the following tasks are enabled by an attacker surface analyzer that can be performed by a development team or an end user to specifically look for an alert on issue that have been shown to cause security weaknesses? Provide incident response teams with detailed information associated with a Windows platform. Wow, I wanted to check this one, but I wasn't sure. That's fine. Number 10, an organization wants to identify the top threats that have the greatest potential impact to the organization. Which of the following steps should be taken first to detect all of the possible threats in a single pass? System decomposition. To detect all the possible threats. Threat modeling is a procedure for optimizing network security by identifying vulnerabilities, identifying their risks, and defining countermeasures to prevent or mitigate the effects of the threats to the system. It addresses the top threats that have the greatest potential impact to an organization. The steps to perform threat modeling are identifying security objectives. Wait. Oh, okay. This is first. I will take a screenshot. Oh, probably my ChatGPT doesn't work. I would like to take a note of it. That's fine. So it's. Can I copy this at least? No. Identify security objectives, system decomposition, threat identification, mitigation analysis, validation of the threat model. Okay. Number 11. Take grant. Security model by keeping in mind that the confidentiality of data should be of utmost priority. You will be develop you will develop the Bell LaPadula model, which is used in government or military implementation, and the intent is to protect confidentiality, right? Oh, so this was correct. Take grant. Huh. Okay, 13. I checked A and B, and that was B and C. Hold on. In the context of availability, ensuring systems are available for authorized users, denying access to authorized users. That was tricky because A sounds like availability to maximizing system performance to make it available for all users. It's about availability as well, in my opinion. 15. Following statements are true about validation in the validation and verification. B. It means that the software meets the specified user requirements. It answers the are we building the right product? Validation in the validation. Verification is are we building the product right? Okay. Okay. 16. Due to new regulation, an organization has decided to initiate an organizational vulnerability management program and assign the function to the security team. Which of the following frameworks would support the program? ITIL and wow. Why not this? Open Web Application Security Project and Information Technology Infrastructure Library frameworks will be best to support the program. OWASP is an online community that provides knowledge to the development community. But it was about the function to the security team, management, and organization vulnerability initiate. Which of the following frameworks? Mhm. Answer C and B are incorrect. These frameworks are not important to the initial level of program. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, is a US government agency that promotes a wide range of standards, including those that focus on cybersecurity, control objectives for information and related technology. Uh, is an IT governance framework that incorporates elements of risk management. Oh my, 20. GRC, oh, has conducted gap analysis, which related 6% implementation of security. The assurance team reviewed the likelihood of exploitation of each vulnerability and the business impact of each associated control. The business impact analysis is the process of figuring out how much business would be affected. C. To determine the controls of to implement the governance risk and compliance should be considered. GRC referred to strategy for managing an organization overall governance, enterprise risk management, and compliance with regulations. Common method of addressing these areas are through a committee made up of practitioners and senior management or executives. Hmm. Okay, that was the 20. 29. Which of the following statements are true about scanning? It provides the development team with a wealth of information as to how a system will behave when deployed into production. No, it provides the development team with a wealth of how system. No, I wouldn't agree. A system can be scanned, determine the specific operation system in place. 30. Oh wow, fix the problem, remove the problem. Okay, let's see next one, 32. Not performed at the acceptance level. Test development generation. Test development, test plan. Okay. What else? What else? 51. Which of the following are primary mitigations? Establish and maintain control over all of your outputs. 55. Which of the following statements are true about supplier risk? It is information gathering function and focuses on understanding the consequences of all feasible risks. Okay, makes sense. It allows customer to deploy the necessary proactive and reactive controls to respond to threats as they arise. Assessment. Hmm. B still sounds good to me. Because based on the assessment, you can deploy what's necessary, right? ISO 900, 9000. It's incorrect. 9 to 16. Which of the following standards provides guidance for establishing quality in software products? 90 to 16. Okay. What else? 62. Internal, no hidden. Okay. 67. Attribute based. It's mandatory and discretionary. Okay. 72. Which of the following are classes of web services that are identified by consortium? These two: REST compliant, arbitrary, and no, so representative state transfer and arbitrary web services in the in which the service may expose an arbitrary set operations. Okay. And 73. I was just guessing here. 2008. See, the system security engineer's capability maturity model is also known as the ISO IEC 21827 2008 and is an international standard for the secure engineering of systems. 78. 11. How many processes are defined? Objectives. I had no idea. Peter works as a software developer. Oh, attack surface analyzer. He installed an application on the Windows. Now he wants to detect changes that occur to the underlying Windows. Attack surface. Peter could use attack surface to accomplish his task. Acting as a sophisticated scanner, the tool can detect the changes that occur to the underlying Windows OS. When an application is installed, it is designed to measure the security impact of an application on a Windows environment. 82. Trust boundaries. Devices used to demarcate the points where data moves from one module set to another. Trust boundaries are devices used to demarcate the points where data moves from one module set to another. Testing of data movement across trust boundaries from end to end of the application is important. Statements are true about version control. It manages access to source files, locking sections of code so that only one developer at a time can check. Okay. It handles all the question asked, okay, by the management team. It tracks all the pieces of a project and enables complete management. Sandboxing, no, DevOps. Into production directly yeah, it makes sense. Not sandboxing. What is the test harness in software testing? A means of documenting the software tools data and configuration for testing. And 96. What is the primary goal of continuous improvement in a business context? Improving process to enhance business results. Makes sense. Okay, nice. I'm glad I was able to answer the most of the questions correctly, even though this is the first time I did this and without preparation, without reading the book. I had 77 questions answered properly. Plagiarism of that was kind of easy. Theft of intellectual property. Purpose of versioning. Version control to manage and track changes. Right. A lot of those questions were logically understandable. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. That's the first pre-assessment. It's many more to come. I hope I will find the time to record more often. I know I didn't record for a while, but this semester I'm taking 4 classes, plus I'm working full time. And now it's time for dinner. Thank you. Good night.